Taking this recent pile of official DGS documents
Hmm.
and boiling them down into, actionable insights for you, synthesizing the really critical updates, things affecting training, safety, investigations, basically giving you the big picture of what the DGS is focused on now.
Exactly. And it's more than just paperwork, isn't it? These directives, they really show you what's top of mind for maritime governance, the challenges they're tackling. And by looking at what they've just updated, you can see this clear, sort of three-pronged focus emerging.
Right.
Long-term workforce stuff, immediate safety, and, well, the people involved. The human element will hit circulars in all three. Okay, let's get into it then. Starting with that long view, theme one, shaping the future workforce. Training, education, all that. The DGS isn't just putting out fires, they're actively trying to build that talent pipeline. So, what's jumping out regarding curriculum changes? What are new leaders learning?
Well, what's really striking is how specific they're getting,
Hmm.
like laser focused on competence for certain roles. We're seeing these shifts target future leaders, specifically those operating in, well, crucial domestic waters. There's DGS Circular 41 of 2025. It introduces a pretty significant revision to the course curriculum for the Chief Mate Near Coastal Voyage qualification.
Okay, hold on a sec there. Near coastal voyage. For listeners maybe not deep in the weeds on terminology, what does that mean? And why does that curriculum need this kind of focused update now?
Right, good question. Near coastal voyage, it basically means the ship operates close to the Indian coast, within a set zone, usually. And the chief mate, that's your second in command, key operational officer. So revising this curriculum, it signals a real push to modernize their training based on specific regional risks, maybe new tech on smaller vessels or, lessons learned from incidents in those busy coastal lanes. They want to make sure these officers have standardized, really high-level skills for those unique domestic challenges. It covers both Phase 1 and Phase 2 of their training.
Okay. Makes sense. Modern threats, modern training. But, great teaching doesn't help if the classrooms are half empty.
Which brings us to the next point, right? Access. It's not just what they teach, but getting enough people in the door.
Precisely. And you can see the DGS is definitely thinking about capacity. If you look at Training Circular 21 of 2025, it tackles something head on that, well, maybe they haven't been quite so open about before. Admissions management. The circular actually lays out clear support for multiple admission pathways into maritime education. Interesting. But does that mean there's a real labor shortage brewing? Or is this just the DGS trying to, streamline how academies handle intake? What's the underlying driver here?
I think it's probably a bit of both,
Uh-huh.
honestly, and that's the insight for you listening. The circular specifically mentions mechanisms designed to, and I quote loosely here, fill unoccupied seats. That's pretty direct signal. It shows they know that even though maritime careers are good careers, they're not filling all the training spots they could be. So they're trying to do two things. Diversify who comes in, maybe get talent from different backgrounds and make sure that big investment in training facilities isn't wasted. They definitely seem concerned about keeping that officer pipeline full for the future.
Okay, so updated training for the coastal fleet plus ways to get more recruits in, that's the long game. Now, let's switch gears. Once you have the crew trained and recruited, the focus shifts, right? Theme 2, operational safety, incident response. What's the DGS doing on the infrastructure side for when things inevitably go wrong sometimes?
Well, they're being quite proactive here, actually, trying to get ahead of potential disasters. The DGS has put out a draft merchant shipping notice, and this one lays out really detailed guidelines, criteria too, for the empanelment and retention of salvors.
Right, empanelment and retention of salvors sounds a bit dense. Let's break that down. What does that mean in practice for someone listening?
Yeah, good point. Think of salvors as the specialist emergency responders for the sea. Ship runs aground, catches fire, oil spill. These are the companies you call. It requires very specific, often heavy-duty technical skills. So this new draft notice, it's about standardizing who gets on the official approved list. That's the empanelment, vetting them beforehand. And they're demanding a detailed checklist be met for these firms to get approved and stay approved. This stops that chaotic situation where, mid-disaster, you're scrambling and maybe hire someone not quite up to the job. By setting the standards now, they make sure any approved salver meets these professional benchmarks, ethical ones too, for handling really complex, dangerous situations at sea. It's basically critical preventative planning.
That's a good way to put it, pre-vetting the specialist emergency teams. But like you said, preparation only gets you so far. Regulators also have to react when things do happen. And there's a circular here that seems to do exactly that, responding to a specific recent collision.
Exactly. Now we shift from those preventative guidelines to, well, rapid corrective action. That's casualty branch, Circular 10 of 2025. And it specifically, and quite urgently it seems, covers that recent collision. The one between a large merchant vessel and some Indian fishing boats over on the west coast.
Wow, the speed of that is pretty telling, isn't it? Suggests there's a quick feedback loop happening. What does issuing this specific circular so fast tell us about DGS priorities after an incident like that?
It tells us they see this kind of event as extremely serious. I mean, you have merchant ships and local fishing fleets. They operate very differently, different rules, speeds, sizes, but they share the same water. So this quick directive, focusing on the investigation but also prevention, suggests they need to immediately clarify, maybe even adjust, the rules of engagement in those shared spaces. It's not just about assigning blame for this accident. It's probably more about preventing future conflicts between huge commercial ships and, traditional local fishing activities. It's a complex interface.
That's a really key point, that interface. We'll circle back to that, but let's shift now to the people. Theme 3, the human element. Beyond the training and the accident plans, you've got to make sure the seafarers themselves are actually fit to be out there and supported while they work. It's a tough job. Where do we start?
Health standards. Absolutely. And staying compliant internationally, especially with STCW standards, is huge here. So MS Notice number 09 of 2025, it hits this directly. It's an addendum, basically adding to existing medical rules. But specifically, it seems to be tightening the requirements around the approval and renewal process for the medical examiners themselves, the doctors who certify seafarers.
Interesting. So they're focusing the regulation on the doctor and not just the seafarer's checkup itself. Why tighten the vetting for the examiners? What's the thinking there?
It's fundamentally a quality control step, right, at a really critical point. A seafarer's fitness for duty. That impacts their own safety, sure, but also the safety of the whole vessel, the cargo, the environment. So the DGS is effectively saying, look, the medical certificate is only as reliable as the person signing it, end quote. By making the rules stricter for approving and renewing these examiners, they're aiming to raise the bar for physical and mental fitness across the board, ensuring only genuinely fit people get certified for sea duty.
Right, makes sense. Quality control at the source, that handles the fitness part. But maritime work, it's known for being tough, isolating. So finally, what about direct support for the crew, the welfare side of things?
Yeah, and this is where you see them really prioritizing that social safety net.
No.
True Circular 39 of 2025. It explicitly highlights the welfare schemes available from the Seafarers Welfare Fund Society. It's not just a passing mention. It reads like a regulatory nudge, reminding everyone, industry, seafarers, that these support systems are there and should be used.
Can you give an example? Like, what kind of practical help does this Welfare Fund Society offer that the DGS is pushing here?
Well, it's substantial stuff, really necessary things. For example, the fund might offer financial help for seafarers' kids' education, or medical support for families back home, maybe grants if there's sudden housing trouble or financial hardship. By issuing this circular, the DGS is basically underscoring the importance of practical financial well-being for sailors. People who, because they're away so much, might find it hard to access normal support systems. It's an acknowledgement that a crew that feels supported is fundamentally a safer, more effective crew. So if you pull it all together, the updated course for chief mates, the new admission ideas, the Salver standards, the fast reaction to the collision, stricter medical checks, and promoting welfare, you see a regulator that's juggling. They're planning for the long-term workforce, preparing for worst-case scenarios, and trying to look after the people actually doing the job right now.